Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar supporting the launch of the latest Homes for Healthy Aging open call. My name is Francesca Caramelle, and I'm one of the SME development managers at Connected Places Catapult involved in this exciting project. Today, I'll be your moderator. Today's webinar will enable you to get all the information you need and require before applying to the open call launch last week on the 19th of July, as well as give you the opportunity to ask all the questions you'd like to pose. We've got an exciting panel of speakers, which hopefully will answer your questions. So the event today will be recorded. The recording will be shared afterwards. It will also be posted on YouTube, so it's always accessible. I suggest you put your name and organization you come from in the side chat, so you can interact and again understanding who else is on the call. There's also a Q&A function you can use. You can pose your questions there. There will be some allocated time at the end. We've got 15 minutes for Q&A, and we will answer your questions during that time. Next, please. So we've got quite a busy agenda. We're going to start off with the program introduction by Erin Walsh, who's the Director for Built Environment and Connected Places Catapult. We will then move to our location partners who are working with us on this exciting program. We will then have a presentation by our service team on how the testbed works, what does it entail. We then are going to have a presentation by ICO, who is a partner in the program. We will then go through the business support and application process with our colleague Andrea, who is an accelerator program manager at Connected Places Catapult, and we will then have an SME testimony from an SME involved in one of the testbeds just finished. Finally, we're going to have a Q&A. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you Erin Walsh, who's our Director for Built Environment at Connected Places Catapult. Please, Erin, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Francesca, and good morning all, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us for a Homes for Healthy Aging open call. So I'm just going to set some of the context, as Francesca just mentioned there, about our program. So we're going to look at our next slide here, and we're going to start to kind of look at some of the numbers that help set the big picture here. Some of these numbers, some of you will be more familiar with than others, but let's kind of delve into them. So 25, if we look at that, 25% of us will be over the age of 65 by 2050. There's a huge demographic shift in the UK like we've never seen before. And we're seeing this across most developed nations. And this is brilliant. And this is immensely positive. We're living longer for longer. But we also need to think about how do we have the right support and infrastructure in place to enable us to live healthily and independent as part of that longevity. If we think about that 2050 number, we also know 80% of the homes we will live in by 2050 are already existing. So there's a big retrofit challenge here and thinking about creative solutions around the homes we already have. So that's an 80% number there. If we start to look at our next number here, we move to 2.5. And if we click through, we're going to see that 2.5 billion is the estimated cost to the NHS for cold, damp and unsafe homes. And that number increases if we also think about isolation and loneliness, which our homes and our communities have a huge role to play in. So how do we make a cost saving to that number? Because that's really, really key, thinking about that longer term as we age together for longer. If we think about it from a market perspective as well, and we look at it through a growth opportunity, we know that in 2018, the smart health market in Europe was estimated at just under £9 billion. If we look at that number going forward, it's estimated to grow. If we click through here, we're going to see it's estimated to grow just under 14 billion by 2024. And we see this number set to increase. So we really start to see the challenge or the opportunity we have in aging longer together for longer. We also see the retrofit and thinking creatively about the infrastructure we already have, the challenge on our NHS and how can we free up some of that funding that's invested there, and how can we also put the UK and UK innovators and SMEs at the forefront of this agenda. And that's very much what this program is about. So we're going to pass through to the next slide here. That's the references, by the way. We're going to share this deck. So if anyone wants any more information, please do delve in there. So when it comes to aging well, we believe where we live matters. So that's our home, that's our community, that's our access to loved ones, to our infrastructure, to our spaces and our places. And you're going to hear more about some of those challenges and opportunities from our location partners in a moment. So what's the question here? If we click through to our next slide, it's very much about why aren't we building and retrofitting homes with healthy aging in mind? And if we look at the right-hand side here, there's 4 key findings here that we've been looking at and our program's looking to unlock. So healthy aging challenges are complex and vary from place to place, and you'll hear from our 3 location partners in a moment. We also know the UK's healthy aging market is not yet well established. It's getting there and it's growing, but it still has a lot to go. We also know it's hard to know which new technologies and innovative solutions will most effectively address healthy aging challenges locally. And that's some of the work we've been doing. You'll hear more from Clemence in a moment on that. We also know it can be quite risky to deploy innovative solutions at scale when they haven't yet been tested with real people in the real world. So this is very much what our testbed program is about. It's about addressing each 4 of these and us using our neutral convening position to bring in innovators and partners to unlock some of these challenges. So we're going to go to our next slide, please. And I just wanted to highlight Connected Places Catapult. So we're in part funded by Innovate UK, and our role is to be an accelerator agency for cities, places, and transport. So this here around the homes and healthy aging is very much in that cities and places side of it. And there's 3 key functions we have here. And if we look to the left, it's very much about convening the UK's capability, innovation capability. So it's about bringing together neutral ecosystems convened between public, private sectors, SMEs, and academia, exactly what this program is. In the center, it's about using our deep technical expertise, you'll hear more about that from his colleagues, but also working with partners and leveraging their expertise as well, and bringing sector-specific and innovative methodological approaches to the testbed. And also, really importantly, we're technology agnostic. So as I mentioned, we're part funded by Innovate UK, and our mission is to support UK jobs and inclusive growth. So from that foundation, that's where we build our program on top of as well. So we're just going to go to our next slide and start to look at the testbed program to date. So we have 5 testbeds in total as part of this program. 2 have already been launched last year and are actually coming to the end of their testbed period and trialing. On the left-hand side, you can see here it's Northern Ireland, where we focus on reducing social isolation and loneliness. Sunderland led on looking at cold and damp housing. That was with a series of partners, local authorities, academic institutions, RSLs, and other key stakeholders in both locations. And now we're looking to launch our next 3 test beds. Leeds, who are focusing on the root causes of loss of independence. Essex, we'll hear more about how they're looking to improve efficiencies in care provision. And Brighton and Hove, where they're focusing on building resilience in carers. So that's our 5 test beds, and these are the 3 we're about to launch today in that purple color here, and you're going to hear lots more about it. So we're just going to go to the final slide from my side, and it's really to kind of just spotlight on what they offer to the SMEs and those that have joined the call this morning. So we have £200,000 of funding made available across those 3 test beds. And we just wanted to highlight that the funding for each SME will be based on the trial proposals by the applicants, so by your application. And we've set out a target range of 5 to 25,000. So depending on your proposal and your needs and your budget with that, that's the range we'll be looking to fund within. Our ambition is to work with 13 SMEs across these 3 test beds, and then we have a wider wraparound package in addition to that cash funding. And that support is is access to local partners and the testers, so the end users. It will also be around a national showcase and local demonstrators in place. It will also be around testbed support, business support, and access to our SME alumni network. You're going to hear a lot more about the actual details from my colleagues Clemence and Andrea in a few moments, but that's just setting the overall context and the shape of the offer. So again, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I'm going to hand back to Francesca.
Thank you, Erin, for your comprehensive presentation. Definitely some stats that not many people are aware of. Very, very interesting. We will now move to our location partners, starting off with Ben Feely. Ben is Project Development Manager at Leeds City Council, and he will provide an overview of the challenge leading Leeds. Right, Ben, are you there? Thank you, Ben.
Morning all. Have you got my slides there available?
Yes, so we do. There you go.
Right, lovely. Okay, thank you. Morning everyone. My name is Ben Feely and I work in the service transformation team in Leeds City Council. And along with my colleague Stephen Young, who's also from the same team within the council, we'll be leading on delivering our project in Leeds. So we're really excited to be part of the Homes for Healthy Aging project. Specifically for us, it represents an amazing opportunity to explore new innovative solutions to what is a long-standing issue in our city, which has a significant and detrimental impact on the health and well-being of older people in Leeds. Now, as a city, we're highly ambitious and aspirational. We have the ambition of making Leeds the best city in the UK. And we want it to be a compassionate and caring city with a strong economy, which tackles poverty and reduces inequalities. We want it to be a city where the poorest improve their health fastest. Now, more specifically in this context, we want Leeds to be the best city for health and well-being, as well as the best city to grow old in. Now, they are big ambitions, but they provide a clear purpose and direction. Everything we do as a council and as a city contributes towards helping us to fulfil those ambitions. And the Homes for Healthy Aging project fits in seamlessly with the plans and strategies that we already have in place. Next slide, please. So Leeds is a growing city with a population of almost 800,000. It's the main economic centre for the Leeds city region. It's a driver of growth for the Northern Powerhouse, for Yorkshire and for the national economy. We have a strong history of embracing and promoting innovation and creativity. In recent years, our city has become a destination for innovators and entrepreneurs, and a home for innovative startups, world-class universities and global corporates. And as a council, we've really embraced digital and tech-based solutions. In the last 5 years in particular, we've made significant progress with how we use technology in our own workplace, which is driven by the Adults and Health digital plan. Now, all of this means that as a council and as a city, we're well prepared and well placed to work with and support SMEs to trial and test potential solutions to reducing social isolation in the city and supporting our older adults to maintain independence for longer. Next slide, please. So that brings me to our challenge. So despite all of the advancements and progress that's been made in the city, we still have significant challenges that we need to address. Now, over 190,000 people in Leeds are estimated to be living in the 10% most deprived neighbourhoods, with over 20,000 of those individuals estimated to be 65 and over. There's a clear and established link between social isolation and poor health outcomes, which can lead to a loss of independence. And with further evidence showing how health outcomes are worse still for people who are isolated and also living with deprivation. Now, this is how we arrived at our overall challenge, which is to look at how we might better connect older people to their communities and local amenities in order to address social isolation and allow them to remain independent for longer. Now, we've narrowed this down further still to three specific challenges. Now, each one references a different aspect or a different factor relating to social isolation. Now, in each case, the aim is that if the solution can be identified to reduce the impact of each factor, then social isolation in the city will be reduced, improving health outcomes for those 65 and over and supporting them to maintain their independence and live in the place they call home for longer. So the first one is, how might we better connect older adults to their communities, their local amenities and neighbours in order to reduce social isolation and support them to remain independent for longer? Second point is, how can we support older adults to take part in more physical activity in order to reduce social isolation and support them to remain independent for longer? And the third one is, how might we make it easier for older adults to access public transport in Leeds in order to reduce social isolation and support them to remain independent for longer? Next slide, please. Now, to support the delivery of the project, we've established a strong project team consisting of key members of Leeds City Council who have an extensive background in delivering services aimed at providing care and support for older adults in the city. The team also includes representatives from the University of Leeds, as well as key third sector organisations, including Leeds Older People's Forum, Age UK Leeds, Leeds Neighbourhood Network and Carers Leeds. Now, a key strength for Leeds are the extensive networks and strategic partnerships that exist between the NHS, the council, third sector, and also, more importantly, local communities themselves. Now, this has supported and facilitated collaborative working across the city for many years now, underpinned by the principles of asset-based community development and co-production. Leeds places communities and their residents at the heart of everything that we do. And this is a long-standing approach, which again means that we are very well placed in Leeds to be able to use those networks, use those contacts and those relationships to engage with older people in all areas of the city. As you can see from some of the stats in this slide, over 110,000 people in Leeds are currently aged 65 and over, with over 13%, with a 13% increase, between 2009 and 2019. So you can see that's quite a significant increase in our demographic that we're going to be aiming to work with. And perhaps more importantly, over 40,000 older people in Leeds are currently isolated or lonely. Next slide, please. So in terms of the outcomes, I mean, what we're looking for ultimately is a long-term solution or a long-term reduction in the number of people who are socially isolated. But in terms of those immediate outcomes, what we're looking from this project in particular is to work with people to explore and develop new possible solutions, essentially things that we haven't yet thought of. In Leeds, we've got a huge range of different projects that are underway, addressed at reducing social isolation. But what we're looking for from this project is basically something that we've not thought of before, something that can sit alongside the work that's already taking place, and something that can contribute and add something new, which will ultimately contribute to the reduction in social isolation and that increase in supporting people to stay independent for as long as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. We will now move to Essex County Council. We have Will Herbert, who's Head of Integration Partnerships. Will, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Francesca. We could move to the first slide, please. Thank you. So in April 2021, we launched a small pilot to look at some of the challenges facing our rural communities in Essex. Focusing in on an area known as the Dengie, where there's real difficulties because of that rurality and how providers can deliver care in the area. There's only 2 large providers in the area, people face challenges connecting into their local communities and accessing that wider range of support that might be available. So through the pilot, we brought together a number of care professionals, including social prescribers, community agents, who are again someone who has links into different community organisations, community nursing colleagues, social work professionals, and the domiciliary care workers, to look at how they can address some of these challenges. If we can move to the next slide, thank you. So the challenges we face in the Dengie area, despite the work of the pilot today, are that it can be difficult to navigate the various opportunities for people and understand the services available. How they access that information can be confusing for them. They also have challenges with the rurality impacting on things like providing times for appointments and giving clarity over when people will be with them, which in turn has knock-on impacts for how we coordinate care and how carers and informal care arrangements can be made as well. While our domiciliary care colleagues do try and give set times, they have to deal with the unpredictability of events such as the person they're caring for needing an ambulance and having to wait, and how they then communicate that to the others they're caring for. So there's real challenges around connectivity, and the rurality and distance between the people they're caring for has a huge impact there. We're also seeing challenges around isolation, where a number of the older adults we support have maybe lost that ability to drive, are seeing less of their family, and again, less access to local community solutions that could support them with their health and care needs. So as a team, we wanted to look at how we could change some of this, how we could empower the adult by giving them more control over the care and support they receive, giving them more direct but proportionate access to those organisations supporting them, and providing them with information and confidence they need to plan their day better. Again, giving more choice and control over how they spend their time. Enabling the team that's supporting that adult to communicate effectively between them. With a limited number of providers in the area, it's really important that they have that good communication between them and understand the needs of that individual and how they can work together to support them. And then enabling simple access to other services for that individual. So how can they access smart technology, online resources, and the wider community assets available in the Dengie area? From those kind of desires and opportunities that we wanted to tap into and how we wanted to address those challenges, we've distilled that down to 3 key areas, which are on the screen now. So how might we better connect older adults to the services that they maybe have lost contact to due to their inability to drive? How might we improve efficiency of care delivery in the Dengie, providing benefits to both the provider and the person being cared for? So again, we don't just want to focus on that individual, we want to make things better for the providers there as well. With only 2 providers facing significant challenges, it's important that we help the market develop as well. Then how might we allow older adults and carers to better support each other in the collection and recording of information needed for their records and paperwork? So we know with the challenges around travelling and the time that takes, we need to look at where else we can make savings in terms of the time taken. So that information need and how we address that is really, really important. Just seen a message that I have limited time left, which is helpful because I'm about to jump onto the next slide and wrap things up. So if we could move on 1 slide, just to give you a sense of the organisations we're working with, and this is by no means an exhaustive list. We have some quite strong partnership networks in Essex, tapping into things like the local universities, the colleges, and the district councils in the area. But also, as you'll see on here, working with primary care, tissue viability specialists, Alzheimer's Society. We have an Essex Wellbeing Service that connects into the various voluntary sector organisations that can support the person. And then that team wrapped around the individual, that's really important. So adult social care, the community agents, social prescribers, and domiciliary care workers, all helping to coordinate and navigate that care. So that was a very quick summary of our challenges that we'd like your help in addressing. And yeah, that's it from me, Francesca.
Thank you, Will. Sorry for rushing you. Next slide, please. Yeah, we're going to move now to Brighton and Hove. We've got Theo Fotis there, who's the reader at the University of Brighton. Theo, if you're ready, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Francesca, and good morning, everyone. Should we move to the next slide? So it is my pleasure to introduce you our partnership and our testbed, which is a collaboration between the University of Brighton and Brighton and Hove City Council, of course, under the support of the Catapult Connected Places. And our testbed aiming to address and tackle a very important and serious issue. And next slide, please. And talking how important and serious this matter is, looking at some statistics and the research of the last decade, we can see that further to the important work that the informal unpaid carriers are providing as an economic value to the local area, and of course nationally, this value is huge. And looking at also the numbers, we can see that the work that they offer and the services that they offer to the carriers, it is very, very important, but it has a huge impact, both physical and on their mental health. And if we look at the numbers specifically for Brighton and Hove, we can see that a large proportion of the population, they define themselves as unpaid carriers. And we can see that in Brighton and Hove, around 32.5% of people over 50 living in this area, they have caring responsibilities. And looking also that this population, it's going to grow, and we will see a large increase in older population in the coming years, we can identify that this problem will increase in the future. So next slide, please. Having had the chance within this project to explore how these statistics are being translated in real lives of the people, we have conducted some interviews with unpaid carriers in Brighton and Hove area, and also with some expert interviews with people from organizations, from the local government, and also from charity organizations, where we managed to define better what these challenges are. And we can see from their statements that they have difficulties to navigate, and in a very difficult and challenging online environment. It's difficult for them to identify what they can claim and where. It has, as we said, a huge impact on their physical and mental health when they feel that it takes most of their personal life. And most of them, they don't see it as a job, and they don't really understand that they can have support from organizations and the local government. Next slide, please. So defining these statistics, the background research, and what people are said to us, we managed to pin down these challenges in the 3 statements that you can see there, where we are inviting SMEs then to see how we can make it simpler for unpaid carriers to navigate in this, as I said, very complex system of support out there. We are aiming to see how we can offer these unpaid carriers more time for themselves by providing a more efficient way of caring for their loved ones, and how we can find solutions that we can provide these carriers access to better psychological support. Next slide, please. So our invitation to the SMEs then are aiming to have SMEs that they can raise awareness of the support that it is available out there for our unpaid carriers, try to develop simple solutions, take this complex environment of support that it is out there and make it in a pathway that it is simpler and easier to navigate, recognize the valuable contribution of their carriers, understand the different types of solutions that are out there and how we can utilize them, and how we can improve networks in their ecosystems, creating efficiencies through the collaboration of the City Council, the university, and the SMEs. Next slide. So back to you then, Francesca. Thank you very much.
sorry, I was on mute. Thank you, Theo, so much for your presentation. Thank you to all our local partners. Very helpful to hear from about the challenges, the contextual challenges leading to your commitment within this program. We will now move to the heart of the program. We will look at how the Testbed works, how it's run. And we will hear from Clemence, who's our service designer at Connected Places Catapult. Clemence?
Yeah, thanks, Francesca. Nice to meet you. Next slide, please. So I'll go through different information around the testbed itself and this testbed format. So what do we mean actually by testbed? So at the Catapult, when we mention testbed, we consider that it's an approach that removes barriers to testing by giving innovators such as yourselves access to user groups and real-world contexts, so you can actually develop tests and showcase your solution without the usual risks. And these test beds can be facilitated in either controlled or uncontrolled environments. But overall, it's really about exploring new use cases in existing environments and trying to learn about the unknown. So gathering evidence about your solution and how it performs in these specific local contexts. And here you have several examples of what the testbed could be and what the different shapes of the testbed could be as well. Next slide, please. In terms of our expectations for this specific testbed program, so as an SME, you'll be expected to be on site in the chosen location when it will come to actually run your intervention. So you could actually engage with end users and partners, deploy your solution and provide the support needed as well. It's really, the main headline is to remember is that it's about the test and learn mindset and adopting this mindset and this approach, no matter the extent to which you'll be testing your solution. It's really an opportunity for you to engage with end users, which is not happening often actually. And so you could choose different formats to do so. And here are some suggestions. So you could have a more thorough testing with potentially 4 to 8 weeks trial and deployment, offering potential end users to test their solution in their day-to-day context. So potentially in their homes, in the public realm, depending on the chosen location and challenge. You could also run some engagement activities with end users, such as focus groups, workshops, usability testing sessions. These could be really informative for you to gather feedback from end users and to develop your solution. Another formats as well could be for you to actually showcase your solution in a shorter demo day or test and learn day, always with this actual test and learn mindset. So trying to gather insights and feedback from your visitors, that could be end users, potential client commissioners, but are always trying to learn to develop your solution. So you'll be expected to choose one or several of the following approaches, depending on your objectives and what you'd like to learn. Next slide, please. So in terms of the testbed timeline, the key steps and dates, so here is the framework that we use. So there'll be an SME onboarding early October to welcome the SMEs in the program and with the location partners. Then we'll go straight into experiment design and experiment preparation in October and November. So these will be really around a close collaboration between yourselves and the location partners. In December and January, we'll be expecting you to deploy your intervention, your experiment, and evaluate as well this intervention. Always key to measure the actual results of your intervention. And then we'll keep some time in February time to run the final impact assessment, analyze the results of your intervention, and participate in the final showcase. And in March, there'll be some offboarding activities. Next slide, please. Finally, in terms of the support that we can deliver around the test bed, so the Catapult team with our different experts, the location partners, and also some external partners will be here all along your journey to support you with the design, the preparation, the delivery, and the evaluation of your local intervention. So this will include testbed support. So here we'll be really here to coach you and to train you on how to design a clear and robust experiment plan, and also the evaluation plan going along with it. And we'll be here as well to support you with any preparation and deployment activities, and the location partners will be in charge of recruiting the participants for you to engage with. Another types of support will be around engaging with end users, which is a key objectives in the program. So it will include trainings around safeguarding and also around carrying out research with people in real world situations. So we'll be able to share good practices and methodologies around that. And finally, you'll receive support around data privacy and responsible data management from the ICO, just to make sure that end users' data are used in a safe and ethical way and manner, and that you're actually GDPR compliant if this applies to your solution, of course. So that's all for me, and back to you, Francesca.
Thank you, Clemence. So you mentioned the ICO, the Information Commission's Officer. We now have Maddie Griffiths from the Information Commission's Office. She's Senior Policy Officer. Maddie.
Thanks very much, Francesca. Much appreciated. Hi, so I'm a Senior Policy Officer from the Information Commissioner's Office. So we're the data protection regulator, and what we're looking to do in our support of the Connected Places Catapult for Homes for Healthy Aging is to help people who are using new and novel uses of personal data to understand what compliance should look like. It's a free service that we're offering to support the Catapult. It's one-to-one bespoke advice, and I should stress that it's informal. So the idea is that we're speaking with you about your innovation, about your solution, and getting to know it and giving you advice early, which should prove really valuable to you when you're looking at scaling to address problems early. We do have terms and conditions, which you would expect us to have, but I have to stress it's about us helping you early so that you can get your innovation out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maddie, for this super quick overview. Last but not least, we've got Andrea, who's an Accelerator Program Manager at Connected Places Catapult. Andrea is working with me in providing business support, and she will speak about that as well as how the application process works. Andrea.
Thank you, Francesca, and good morning to everyone. Please, next slide. Well, regarding the business support, our idea is to provide tailored support based on the needs of the SMEs. So at the beginning of the program, we will run business need assessments. These are one-on-one sessions to explore the needs of each company and identify the support and business development opportunities that Connected Places Catapult can provide to each of you, such as introductions to potential customers or investors, networking activities, industry days, and any other relevant opportunities that can arise. Also, you will have access to one-on-one sessions with experienced coach to review your marketing, brand, and communication strategies. And for those who are raising investment, they will have access to one-on-one sessions to take their investment strategy and also to improve their approach to investors. At the beginning of next year, we will have our regional demo day, where SMEs will showcase their solutions and achievement during the program to local authority, potential customers, and other interested parties. So for these, we will provide pitch coaching so you can be ready for the demo day. Next slide, please. Okay, about the selection process, the first thing you need to know is the deadline for the applications is August 23rd. So you need to submit your application before this date on our website. I will recommend that you don't leave it until the last minute so we can actually help you if you have any questions about the process. So once the applications are closed, we will have 1.5 weeks to review and score all the applications, and we will announce the shortlisted companies on September 2nd. The next phase is the Sme Interviews, where you will be assessed by Connect Places Catapult and by the location partners. This will be a 40 minutes meeting where you will have between 8 and 10 minutes to make your presentation, and then 30 minutes for questions. This interview will be virtual and they will take place between September 12th and September 23rd. So we will send you an individual invitation with all the details close to the day for those who were shortlisted. We will announce to you the cohort selected on September 26th. And the idea is to start the program in October. So we have our welcome day on October 4th. This event will be in person in our London office. And well, the program will have a duration of 6 months. So it will end in March. And we are expecting to run the regional demo day between January and February. The date is to be confirmed yet. Next slide, please. Okay, how to apply? Here we have 2 simple steps. So first you need to create a profile in our platform, and then you will be able to fulfill and submit the application form. So probably once you create your profile, you need to enter again in our website and press the apply button to submit the form. And please make sure to verify that you receive the confirmation email once you submit the application. It's important to clarify this because sometimes people get confused and believe that already applied to a program, they believe that they apply to the program just by creating the profile, and it's not the case. In case you want to apply now, we have this QR code in the presentation that you can scan, and that will direct you to our website. And regarding the eligibility criteria, we are looking for innovative solutions that address one or more of the challenges, preferably with a TRL between 5 and 7 or equivalent for non-tech companies. You must have a UK registered company, and you must be willing to test in a real world environment. As Clemens mentioned, we are expecting you to be on site to run the trial and engage with the end users and stakeholders. So the last point is having obviously commitment and willingness to engage with the program and get the most of it. Next slide, please. Okay, the scoring criteria will be scoring the applications against 6 criteria. Here you can see the weight that will carry each of them. So the first one is the solution. Here we want to understand if the product is innovative with a clear, unique selling proposition and the development stage of the solution. The second criteria is the Testbed Proposal. So first, the use case must address one of the challenges. Then we want to see a clear description of the trial, the timeline, what you're expecting to achieve, and how you're going to engage with the end user. So please make sure to provide as many details as possible. Actually, in the application form, you have an option to upload a supporting documentation if it is necessary. The third criteria is the Testbed Feasibility. So we want to understand if this proposal is feasible within the time frame, level of resources, budget, and maturity of your solution. The impact, we will evaluate the short and long-term impact of the solution on the location, the end users, and the benefits of adopting this technology in the location. Regarding the team, we are looking for applicants to demonstrate that their team has the necessary skills, knowledge, and background to deliver. So rather than just listing out the team members in the application, I would recommend you to tell us a little bit more about who the team members are and what they bring to the table. And finally, the traction. Here we want to know if the products satisfy the market, if you already have any traction, or if you have any a growth plan for the future. And just last one recommendation, if you are a big early stage company, it's also important to demonstrate that you can realistically deliver the trial and your product is ready for run this testbed. Well, that's all from my side. Back to you, Francesca.
Thank you, Andrea. I would like to remind all the people in the audience that this recording will be disseminated afterwards and will be shared on YouTube as well, so that you can access it anytime. Finally, we've got an SME testimony. As I aforementioned right at the beginning, we have Shainul Koja, who's the founder and CEO of Thriving AI. Thriving AI was a company involved in one of our previous Homes for Healthy Aging testbeds, specifically the Northern Ireland one. And she will provide an overview of her experience and what to expect from this program. Shane?
Thank you. Thanks, Francesca. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of an SME. First of all, I think that this program is a unique opportunity to really be able to test your solution out, your hypothesis, to learn, to iterate and get close to the beneficiaries that you're trying to impact. I'm a serial entrepreneur, but still the business support that Catapult gave us, the idea of building a development logic model, you know, what are you trying to do? Why are you trying to do it? How is your solution going to help? How will you know that your solution is going to help? These were really deep questions, and the team does push you to go deeper and deeper rather than just give a fluffy answer. There's a lot of time spent on designing the experiment. And, you know, as an SME, you go to it to see, well, is there adoption? Can they use it easily? You know, does it come to them intuitively? But there's so many other things that the team will help you think about, and the partners will help you think about, you know, just like how will you do the surveys? How will you prevent bias? You know, what are the safety procedures? What are the data sharing requirements? What's the GDPR requirement, etc.? And how you will conform to all these things, the documentation, etc. So they really help you build this so that you have a baseline, and then you do your experiment, and then you see the movement. So then you can measure what's qualitative and quantitative. I think that the actual execution, management, and weekly meetings were really important. And I would say to you that you get out of this Catapult and testbed opportunity what you put in. The more you put in, the more you really do get out of it. And I found those weekly meetings really good to move barriers, roadblocks, to get meetings with other people, etc. And people are very willing to do that. The highlights, if I can sort of speak a little bit to that, we were very fortunate because we managed to be able to negotiate to be on the ground for while the onboarding was going on, so that we could actually see people on board, and we learned a lot from that. We requested for one-to-one interviews with caregivers, with payers, with social prescribers, and so forth. So it gave you all those different perspectives. And I think what we would say is that the partners became deeply engaged in what we were doing and were really committed to find the best co-created solution. We had 90% engagement. 50% of family were happy and had more peace of mind. Caregivers saved 20 to 30 minutes per patient that received a cost saving, and so forth. So it was extremely valuable for us. And there were 3 major product integrations that we put into our product as a result of the testbed. And I think it really helps when you go to raise money after this, because the big question always investors say is, show me older adults using technology. When you can show them that 90% of the cohort is consistently compliant and using it, that obviously helps. I think that if there was any area that I would have perhaps liked a little bit more support and clarity around, it would be how to go from these results to a contractual obligation. We are moving in that direction, but I think that's something that the test beds and Catapult could add. But I'm around. You can reach out to me if you want to have a deeper dive. And we really enjoyed it and would highly recommend it. Thanks, Francesca.
Thank you, Shane, for your testimony. That's brilliant. So now we're going to move into Q&A. If you have any questions, please fire away through our Q&A function below. For the time being, I'm going to ask all the panelists to switch on their cameras. Yeah, we've got a few questions coming through, so I will just start. Katrina, could we please remove the PowerPoint page, please, so that we can all see each other? Brilliant, thank you very much. Right, so first question coming through is for either Clemens or Andrea. How do you score your own TRL?
Okay, I can reply that one. Well, there are some standard parameters to measure your TRL, so I can provide you a guidance on that, but you can find it on Google. So, yeah. I don't know if Clemens wants to add something.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, it's exactly that. So you can look at the TRL scale on Google, but we can also share it again. And I guess that it's quite equivalent if you have a non-technology based solution. It's more like market readiness level. And once again, it's something that can be found online, but we'll be looking at sharing that with you afterwards.
Thank you very much, both. We've got a question that's been asked multiple times, which is, can you apply to multiple test beds?
Yeah, you can apply to different locations and different challenges, but you will be selected to work only with one location partner. And also you need to submit an application for each location, because in the form, we don't have the option to select multiple locations. So yeah, those are the requirements, but you can apply without any problem.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. There's another question. This is for Clemens. Hi, Clemens. This is Olivia from Me Care. What are the sizes of each site? Is there preferred a certain number of end users?
So this will be discussed on a one-to-one basis with the locations, depending on the types of the solution. When it's require really quite, I would say, quite really close collaboration with the end users, we advise to engage with 10 to 15 end users. Like if you were, for instance, developing and testing your solutions in people's homes, you need to install these products. You need to just keep in touch with them on a regular basis. So it's really about a qualitative approach, and we'll be looking at more 10 to 15 users per SME. But once again, it depends on the types of the solution and how it's supposed to be used. And it's something to be discussed with the location partners, depending on their capacity for recruitment as well, and if they have access to the people you'd like to work with.
Thank you, Clemens. Olivia, if you need further clarifications, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. There should have been the email address. You can reach out to us through from. We've got another question. So this is more for Erin and Andrea. How much funding per project? Is the total amount stated in the presentation divided to 13?
I'm happy to answer that, Francesca. So yes, It is 200,000 and it will be divided by 13. And as I said at the beginning, there's a range that can be applied for between 5 and 25,000. We took on board feedback from our first round on it, and we think this is a more, basically a better way to support SMEs to look at what you need within that range. So yeah, it's 200,000 split between 13 SMEs within the range of 5 to 25,000 per SME.
Thank you, Erin, for the clarity. We've got 2 questions for location partners. One is for Essex and the other one is for Brighton. I will start with Essex. In Essex, Dengie area, the speaker said there were only 2 dom care providers. Do they both use separate IT systems currently for their staff when they are out and about serving clients?
So yes, there's 2 main providers, and I believe they do use separate IT systems.
Thank you. Brighton. In Brighton, the speaker mentioned carer pathways are complex. Can we get some written documentation about all the various pathways?
Yes, definitely. It's something that we can discuss with our partners from the City Council and see what and how we can provide it. But if I may add, Francesca, I was also referring to the fact that this environment, you might identify that there is lack of these pathways or they're very complex. So any solutions that they could simplify these, it would be very, very important because we are referring to unpaid carriers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Theo. We've got the 2 questions coming in. So will there be an opportunity for partner catapults to work with industry partners to support with their ideas? I think this is more for you, Erin.
Yeah, and thank you, Charles, for the question. I'm not sure if I understand it fully. If the question is there an opportunity for SMEs to work with industry partners to support their idea? Then that's something we're open to, and that will be part of your application. In terms of the demo days that Andrea mentioned, we will be bringing in industry, so tier 1 and buyers within this space. That's also going to be part of the part of the national showcase that we'll be having next February. So it'll be an opportunity to showcase in front of industry leaders in this area. But in terms of your application, if there's a particular partner you wanted to work with, then we'd be very open to that, and we'd welcome it actually.
Thank you, Erin. In regards to your second question, Charles, will a delegate list also be shared after the meeting? That's something that we need to double check with events. So I can get back to you on that. Then Millie, is the access partner just focusing on Dengie area? So this is for you, Will.
Yes, so we are. We're focusing on the Dengie area because I think it's an area where the issues caused by the rurality are quite acute and the limited number of providers. But we expect any solution that can be delivered in that area could be applied to other rural areas within Essex.
Thank you. We're just gonna do other 2 questions, and I think then it's a wrap. There's a question for Leeds regarding public transportation. Will the local transportation authority and public transport operators be in collaboration for connecting technology, for instance, with fleet management system?
Hi, yes. So with regards to sort of partners and relating to transport, we do have relationships in place already. Ultimately, where we take those relationships will depend on the type of solutions and the testing environment that SMEs are looking for. But yes, we do have those connections and relationships in place if we do need to utilize them.
Thank you very much. Right, finally, the very last question is for Erin. Would there be opportunities to reconnect and collaborate once the program is terminated? So I think this refers to the alumni community.
Yeah, so maybe Andrea can share a bit more on the alumni, but that's exactly what the idea there is. And it's about kind of that community of practice and how we're helping build an ecosystem. So very much that's the purpose of the alumni. So that'd be a group that in terms of any further open calls or any opportunities we can reach out to that group as well. And also we can connect them with others who may have similar challenges and are looking to deploy solutions. So that's the objective there and the ambition. I thought Shane made a very good point about kind of what's the next step after this. And that's something we've very much taken on board from our first 2 test beds, and we're working on that to look at that kind of transitioning to support the innovators as part of this program in that next step and the commercialization. So this is something that our colleagues Andrea and co are leading on, and for those that apply, we'll share much more on those details as well. I don't know, Andrea, if there's anything else you wanted to add to that.
No, I think you explained it perfectly. We are trying to organize some activities where all the cohorts can meet each other, can connect, can find ways to collaborate with each other. So yeah, probably we will provide you further details later.
Thank you, Andrea. Exactly, that's very true. We are in the process of organizing some sort of activities to bring together the SMEs involved in testbeds. There's a final question. So as part of the project, our potential buyers in the 3 areas engaged to take forward long-term contracts if the SME solution hit all the points. So I think this is more for you, Andrea, and myself, and potentially Clemens.
Okay. Do you want me to start?
Oh yeah, please go ahead.
Sure. So I guess that this will have to be discussed obviously with your location partners, and depending on how your test is going, how your solution is performing as well. So this is a case-by-case discussion to have with the location partners more towards the end of the program and when doing the impact assessments. But obviously, as Erin mentioned, the events of the demo day and the national showcase will offer you the possibility to get in touch with potential buyers, commissioners, and see what's coming from here. But maybe Andrea, you want to complete as well.
No, yeah, I agree with you. This depends on each case and yeah, how everything is going with the partners. I think that Erin.
Yes, Erin, you've got your hand up.
Just, I know I'm conscious of time, but I just wonder for our colleagues that are on the call from Leeds and Essex and Brighton and Hope, perhaps you want to give an insight, because these are challenges that are very real front for yourselves. So kind of your thoughts on this.
Yeah, if I may, Erin, yeah, I think that it is exactly one of the big advantages of the project and the approach that we take, that having the chance to showcase your solution directly to the local council and the benefits and, you know, the impact, the positive impact, hopefully, that the solution will have. It gives you like the front line, you know, to the commissioners without, of course, you know, being able to guarantee anything. But I think I see it as a huge advantage for an SME.
Does anyone else want to add anything from the other locations? Okay, right. So I'm conscious of time. We're going to wrap up now. If you've got any questions, you can reach out to us through the Homes for Healthy Aging email address. So it's homesforhealthyaging@cp.catapult.org.uk. We will be more than happy to, you know, answer your question and perhaps also have a one-to-one call to give you more clarification. But yes, so thank you very much to all our panelists and speakers. So thank you for your time and thank you for taking the, you know, the time to give the presentations and preparing them. I know it takes time. And thank you to all our audience as well. We look forward to working with you on this exciting project, and we shall hear from you soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.